Make the ground shake.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Hub. I am your host, GamerK, and it is the week of my birthday. This Saturday will be my 26th birthday. So for my birthday, I wanted to do something a little fun, something a little unique, and for the very first time, I think for the Game Hub, I'm reviewing a game that has come out recently. And just hearing about this game just made me want to get it even more. A couple months ago, the game that was released was NSR, No Straight Roads, an indie game developed by an independent British company. Let's see, and this is the game, obviously. It was developed by Metronomic and Sold Out Entertainment. This game, oh my god, I can't contain myself. This is one of the most fun, frustrating, but unique and bizarre games I've played in the last about 10-ish years, I guess. And here at the Game Hub, we always do games that are retro, some games that are popular, and we also do games that are the bizarre, that not a lot of reviewers will touch. And this game is one that has to be seen and heard in order to believe. So let's start up. No Straight Roads is, oh my god, I can't even think about the words to describe this game. For one thing, it's fun beyond all belief. It stars indie rock group Bunkbed Junction, Mayday on guitar, and her friend Zook on the drums. This is a musical hack and slash game. I know. It sounds bizarre, and when I say musical hack and slash, I mean nothing like Atlantica from Kingdom Hearts 2. I mean nothing in that regard of musical hack and slash. The game stars them in Vinyl City, where they're auditioning for Vinyl's Got Talent, and thankfully Simon isn't here to bother us with auditioning. The audition is basically tutorial level of how you do combat in the game, how you do parrying, and I'll get to those more later on. So the NSR group, the 5 main artists, top artists, and the head of NSR are all judges. And even though people liked our music of rock and roll, they X'd us out. And after explaining how EDM, or electronic dance music, is the future, and rock and roll is gonna go the way of Elvis. And after seeing that the energy crisis, that music evidently powers the energy in the city, is only being allowed for the NSR artists and their districts. So it's time for a rock revolution. This is what I found this game by accident, and it is honestly something that speaks to me. Rock and roll versus EDM, because I am a big rock fan. I've seen AC/DC, I've seen Foreigner, I've listened to so many rock musicians throughout my life, and I don't like EDM that much. I hate electronic music most of the time. But this is a game that really takes that bizarre idea of two different music elements and going against each other, and it's beautifully done. From the boss fights to the level designs, and I'll get to those more in a bit. So that's what this whole game is. It is basically a hack and slash boss rush game. Because the levels themselves are kind of linear, where you just defeat enemies, get through the area, and then go fight the boss. And again, I'm saying this a lot, but I'll get to them in a minute. The game is single player, but you can also do co-op mode, where one player takes control of Zook, one player takes control of Mayday. Now, Mayday is more of a powerhouse powerhouse. With her guitar, she will bash and slam her guitar, and most of her ability. And Zook is a combo expert with his drumsticks. He will hit the opponent multiple times, and then you can do a combo finisher. That obviously deals more damage. Now, throughout the game, there may be a bit of a bit of a lag in some bits, but it's a game where you can take your time or you can power through the entire time. It's not really up to the player. And one thing I've noticed is that this game has taken some other things from a game, Cuphead, a little bit. For example, the parrying system. When an attack comes from the boss or from an enemy and it's pink, you parry at the right moment in order to send it back. Now, most of the game does have musical elements, like timing with the attacks of the bosses and the enemies, keeping in tune with the music, and it keeps in tune with the music of the background music, which is done beautifully. And at the end of each boss fight, you will be given a score based on your damage that you took, parrying, combo, and your time of how long you took. Kind of reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge in that regard, where every single level, depending on how much you do of a certain thing, you'll get a rank. And the leveling system in this game is done by followers. Because we're doing a revolution, we will get followers as we progress through the game. Whether it's doing the interview in our base, from doing small stuff in the open world, or just doing really well at boss fights. So, one thing I really love about this game is the art style. It's kind of that funky, yet really colorful, stylized world. All the characters don't appear to, like, most of them aren't really normal humans, but I kind of like that. That's not the humans fighting. It's these cartoony looking characters, and each one has their own design, personality, and most of them, especially the boss battles, they fit within the character's motif. And I really enjoy that. And I'll get to the boss fights in a little bit longer. I'm just going to talk more about the game. Let's see. So, and not only that, but the dialogue is really good. The humor in the game, it hits a couple notes half the time, but the humor is really, really fun. I really enjoy it most of the time. And the bickering between Zook and Mayday, it feels like they have a genuine longevity connection. Just not a romantic connection, just basically just a band member partnership. And that's something I really, really enjoy about the game. Like, I don't need every main character to have a love interest, but in this one, I'm okay with it not having, because it fits more to their band. It fits more to their story. It fits more there. And it's done really well. Let's see. Okay, so going back to what I was talking about, skill. With the followers. The skill tree will be unlocked after the first boss, and it all depends on how many followers you get. And the more you do, the better you do at a boss fight, the more followers you will obtain. So if you get an S rank on the boss fight, you will get a lot of followers. And depending on how many followers, you can go down the skill tree and equip different abilities, not tactics per se, just your health, how much damage you deal, combos, stuff like that. And each character gets one. And then there's also one for the band itself, which will give certain abilities. Now, this kind of leveling system I'm kind of okay with, because if you're not doing well in the boss fights, then you're going to be grinding a lot. And luckily, it's one of those games where you can replay boss fights. And I really love that, because you can also do them on different difficulties in order to get more followers. Now, I'm not great, and they also included insane mode and parry mode, where the only damage you do is via parrying. And I'm not insane enough to try that, because I've already played Cuphead this year, and that was a parry bonanza. So for those of you out there who really love a good boss rush game, and the difficulty goes up, and this is definitely a game for you. If you really love boss rush games and the difficulty of the bosses go up and you can select the difficulty, it's a game to check out if you're a fan of that. Now, unfortunately, as much as I'm giving credit to this game and the art style, the gameplay, there are a couple things that I need to talk about. For one thing, it is relatively kind of a shortish game. If you go all out, it's about 6 hours long, 6.5 if you're a completionist to get all the trophies. And the trophies are pretty fun, and most of them are usual boss fights, like launching a rocket at the DJ Subatomic Supernova, defeating Swordfish in your Sayu fight, destroying a certain amount of robots against 1010. And not only that, after each boss fight, you will be given an ability in order to help throughout the other boss fights, such as do special moves, such as healing, dealing extra damage, transforming Transformers into either healing items or assault items in order to attack the boss. So each boss you defeat will give you a special ability in order to equip to a character. Then there's also the customization, where you can customize stickers that you find throughout the game onto the guitar or to the drumsticks in order to give it a little boost for a boss fight, such as giving more parry damage, raising your health, raising your combo meter, dealing more damage, stuff like that. And you can always mix and match ones as you see fit. And I think that's something that's really was a cool idea. So the game didn't feel like you're just using the exact same skill, the exact same tactics over and over. But now, I forgot to say this, the entire story of the game is interesting at its very core. It's something unique. It feels like this feels like a music anime that would honestly be one of the best ones I've ever seen. I'm not joking. Speaking of which, this game feels like that Scott Pilgrim section where they fought the Watanabe twins. If they ever make that kind of thing into an anime where bands fight and beasts come out of their instruments, I would love it. That's basically what, this is on that road a little bit, and it's fun as heck to do. The game, like I was saying about the story, it's original. It's something that doesn't take itself too seriously because it is wacky, it is cartoony, but it's done flawlessly. The story never had a hitch or I wish something else would happen. Everything that happens feels like it works. And all honesty, I can't say that about so many other games. I can usually find a couple plot points that, except for the ending section of the game, it just feels like it just comes right out of nowhere just to get a little closure and everything. But all in all, it was still epic as hell. The ending was pretty fun, and I really did enjoy the game. Now, on to quite possibly the two best things in this entire game. The boss fights. The boss fights are, I really love boss fights in any game, and this game really gave me a challenge with these boss fights. For one thing, you're not fighting the bosses directly usually, and also once you will be getting music notes, and you'll be shooting them at the bosses, like you will in the game, and shooting them against enemies. First thing, the enemies, not the most interesting thing in the game. They're basically the same kind of machine-looking creatures that have rhythm attacks. Like, they'll shoot at you, they'll bounce in a pattern. So the enemies, not the most original, and honestly, they don't even come up with new ones later on because it's basically the same machine ones, and I'm okay with that. But the boss fights. The bosses are by far one of my favorite things in this entire game, and they are legitimately one of a kind. When they do different styles of EDM and try to make that into a character, the boss fight had definitely be attributed to the character's style. And goddamn do they do it perfectly. We got DJ Subatomic Supernova, who, as his name states, is a DJ, and he's in the middle of the screen as around you is like this solar system of meteors that you gotta destroy in order to get the music notes and shoot him. All of his attacks are DJ based as he moves the rings around the screen like a record and hitting you, doing rhythm attacks in order to catch you off guard, growing to at planetary proportions, indicating that he sees himself as the center of the universe. We've got Sayu, who's pretty much a mermaid Vocaloid, and yeah, she's cute as hell, and her level design is honestly, it's very creative. Digital C, I really like it. We got Yinu, who's a child piano prodigy, and her boss fight really shows what it's like to be a prodigy half the time, especially the boss fight as it progresses. It definitely shows what it's kind of like to be a child prodigy, and it gave me real feelings during the boss fight and afterwards. It was one of the best boss fights in the game, and I'm not saying that, I mean it. And then we get 1010, who is in sync pretty much every boy band ever, but robots. And I can't get their boss music out of my head. That's another thing I really love. Each boss fight has their own music soundtrack depending on their genre, from DJing to Vocaloid to piano to electronic boy band, because they're robots. How cool is that? It's like the NS5. It's like the NS5s from iRobot got paint jobs and decided to be a boy band. And then we get Eve, who is basically a Art Deco Lady Gaga. You heard me right. And I don't think a lot of people have made that joke, so I'm hoping to be the first. Her boss fight was one of the most hard ones I had to do, because she separates you and Zook and Mayday, and you got to go back and forward playing each of them. And her story is really sad, and it's beautifully done, and one of my favorite boss fights. And then, halfway in the game, we get my favorite character of all. Now, I'm not a guy that likes rap music that much. I just never really liked it, but this character made it fun. DK West, who is the Shadow Rap Master. And he's not a boss fight, he's a mini game, but he does have some story potential. I'm not going to give why, because it's kind of something that you need to experience in the game. And I gotta say, I've played so many video games in my life, but this may be one of the ones that honestly had me looking for ways to beat the third confrontation with him, because it was so hard. So what you do is, him and Zook have history. I'm not going to give reasons, but they hate each other, so they got to do a rap battle. So basically what it is that you're on both sides of the screen, you have Mayday and Zook's hands, and you get to move them one space over, depending on... Let me get... So basically, you can either keep them in the middle to keep the hands in the middle, or move them to the side, and then you got to work both of them. And at the same time, Red Bulls, not the energy drink, literal images of Red Bulls will be coming down the line, and you got to avoid them in order to continue. And then you do this thing where DK West Shadow comes out, and you got to match the glowing hands to where your character is in order to damage him. And I gotta say, each Red Bull, it moves in tune to him rapping, word for word, it will beat, and the faster he raps, the faster it goes, and the more difficult it goes, which I really like that. It gave me a real challenge. The first and second one were kind of easy to get through, but it took me a while to get the pattern down, because I'm glad that it didn't change at each confrontation, because that would have been a whole move to go to do that. But the third one, I looked online, I'm not going to give away the way to do it. You guys got to find it yourself. All I know is DK West, he's our man. He's the best. DK West, he's our man. He is the best. Favorite character in the game because he's witty, he's funny. His challenging minigame made me want to throw my controller across the room. And a lot of games have done that to me, but never before have I wanted to, and fighting him the third time is optional. But it's one of those things where it sticks in the back of your head that you need to do it because just to prove you beat him. And if they did not create one of the most amazing musical minigame sections in any video game I've played, No Straight Roads did it. A guy who hates musical sections in video games, this game made me love one because of its difficulty and the character and just the way they went about it. It was something unique. It was something fun, challenging, but fun. And fun. Okay. So like I said, the boss fights in the game are all replayable, so you can get a better score, get more followers, level up. Now, once again, I don't think I finished this part. The one thing I dislike about this game is the fact that the entire area of Vinyl City where we go, I mean, we get to meet wacky characters as the game progresses, but it's to no avail. We get to meet these weird characters throughout each district, and they don't do anything. We don't get to do side missions. We don't get to do anything fun with them. We just talk with them. They join us. That gives us some followers. But some of them, it's just, okay, you're here, and we get stickers. Also, we got to collect energy throughout each level in order to fix the broken energy area stuff in the city. That's something fun because it will give us followers, but at the same time, you think in this wide open musical world, we would at least get to do some, go back to previous levels and do some missions. But honestly, it's a small gripe, but it's kind of a big one as well, because we're supposed to be doing a music revolution. How are we going to do that if we can't talk to these characters? It's a small gripe, but it's something I really wish, we could explore a little bit more. I mean, we do get, 6 districts to explore, and they are all well done, each character's own style. Not only that, but there's commercials for every single one. And I'm going to say that 1010's one is the most hilarious. And finally, much like Angry Joe commented in his Ride to Hell game, that there are some games that he points out good soundtracks because of that game, because it was a bad soundtrack. This game has one of the best soundtracks I've ever played in a video game. Not just the boss music, but the music going through the level, just enjoying the atmosphere, but the boss battle sound music. Like I said, every single one fits with the boss, fits with the genre, and it's just something that you just gotta listen to and enjoy. The soundtrack is worth the price of the game alone. And if you can download the music on your phone or anything, get the soundtrack. Every song, I mean, it's not really lyrics. The only one with lyrics really is Sayu, and it fits with the boss fight, and it fits with the Vocaloid virtual idol theme, and it works. I'm saying this a lot. Every bit of music in this game fits. And when you make all the music in your musical-based game perfect, you know you've done something right. Whereas some games where its motif isn't done well, it makes you lose the interest. But this game, The music is amazing. The boss fights are amazing. The characters are so well fleshed out and designed beautifully. The gameplay could be a little bit better, the hack and slash stuff is a big part of it. I just wish that we could explore more. But overall, there's tons of replayability in this game with the different level of difficulty within each boss fight. And it's something for you to do afterwards. It's something that needs to be experienced, or else this game and tons of other individual games that are amazing, but they're not pushed into the spotlight as games that are epically amazing. If I were to summarize this game, it would be, if you're going to a concert, this game would be the opening act, and it was better than the main act. And you wanted more of this song, because I've had a concerts like that. This game is the opening act, but it should be the main act. This game needs to be shown to people, and it needs to be played, or else small companies who put so much heart and effort and soul into this game, they're gonna go away the way of disco. And I can't. And as a rock fan and as a gamer who loves unique games like this, I can't sit by and let this game fade away into the background. While big games that don't give us what we want, I can't allow it. GamerK's final verdict for No Straight Roads is a rockin' 8 out of 10. It would have been a 9 if the open world stuff was a little bit more flushed out, if there was more stuff to do other than the boss fights. But overall, this game hits every single note, and it makes you, and the music itself will, I don't know how to say it. The music in the game is amazing, and you need to take a listen. You need to start playing this game. And it's not an expensive game either. For the price of admission, this game is beyond worth every single ballad. And it does that proudly. And that's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Go get NSR right now, because there will be no straight roads once this game gets done with you. Join me next week where we play Let's see, what am I doing again next week? Let me see. Okay. Make sure you join in next week where I deal another hand, and you better not purchase his merchandise. Adios, ladies and gentlemen. This is GamerK logging out. Adios.